I never thought dying would feel like waking up in someone else's skin. But that's exactly what happened the night my brother slipped that experimental pill into my champagne flute at our family's annual Hamptons gala. To Vivian, the golden child, he'd toasted, his smile as sharp as the knife he'd later wish he'd used instead. By dawn, I was trapped in his body, tall, awkward, reeking of cheap cologne and regret, while he pranced around in mine, inheriting my trust fund, my corner office at Dad's firm, and the life I'd clawed for since Mom walked out. It started with the crash. Not a car wreck, but the kind that shatters illusions, the one where you realize your family's love was just a ledger, and you were always in the red. I'd come home from Yale early that summer, 2015, buzzed on freedom and Daddy's pride, only to find the safe cracked open like a bad joke. Dad's prized Rolex was gone, along with 10 grand in cash, money he'd squirreled away for emerges. But the real theft? The blame. They pinned it on me. Vivian's always been impulsive, Aunt Clara had whispered to the cops, her voice dripping Southern honey over New York steel. Spoiled rotten by her grandmother's doting. Probably funded some wild weekend in the city. I was 18, for Christ's sake, fresh off a Dean's List semester. And suddenly, I was the family black sheep, shipped off to Jivy for 6 months while Ethan, my golden boy brother, 2 years older and twice as charming, skated free. He was the one who'd done it. Of course. I'd caught him red-handed once, years before. His skinny fingers rifling through Dad's desk while I pretended to sleep on the couch. But loyalty's a bitch, especially when you're the daughter in a house of sons. Cover for me, Viv, he'd begged, eyes wide like we were kids again, building forts in the attic. You're the smart one. They'll believe you. And I did. God help me. I did. Took the fall. Swallowed the lies. Let them tattoo delinquent on my record while he got a pat on the back and a scholarship to Columbia. Grandma knew, though. Esther Harrington, the iron-fisted matriarch who'd built half of Dad's real estate empire from nothing after the Depression. She never said a word, just slipped me extra allowance. Those crisp hundreds folded into birthday cards with notes like, for the girl who carries too much. We called her Nana, but she was more fortress than Grandma, sharp-tongued, chain-smoking merits on the sun porch, regaling us with tales of bootlegging in Prohibition-era Brooklyn. Families like concrete. Vivian, she'd say, exhaling smoke rings that danced like ghosts. Pours smooth, hardens quick, but crack it once and the whole damn thing crumbles. After juvie, I rebuilt. Transferred my credits to NYU, double majored in finance and psych. Interned at Dad's firm, Harrington Properties, until I earned my seat at the table. By 25, I was VP, closing deals on luxury condos in Brooklyn Heights while Ethan floundered in middle management, his Ivy League polish wearing thin under the weight of his own laziness. They still called me spoiled behind my back. Vivian's Nana's pet, Dad would mutter over scotch at Thanksgiving, his voice slurred with that old resentment. Mom's abandonment had left scars. You see, hers on his ego, ours on our hearts, and I was the spitting image of her, all dark curls and defiant chin. Ethan got the pass. He looked like Dad, broad-shouldered and blandly handsome, the son who could do no wrong. But Nana saw through it. Her letters came weekly, handwritten on monogram stationery, filled with cryptic wisdom. Beware the wolf in brother's clothing, or truth's a debt. Child, pay it or it collects with interest. I hoarded them in a shoebox under my bed in my Murray Hill walk-up, rereading them on nights when the city's hum felt too loud, Too lonely. She was sick by then, stage 4 pancreatic. The kind that eats you from the inside out, but she refused chemo. Said she'd rather go out swinging than fade in a hospital bed. Promise me one thing, Viv, she'd whispered during my last visit to her Greenwich estate. Her hand skeletal but grip like vice. Don't let them rewrite your story. You're no one's fool. She died on a Tuesday in October 2023. Leaves turning bloody on the estate's oaks. The funeral was a circus. Black limos snaking up the drive. Politicians and real estate sharks milling like vultures in their Tom Fords. I stood at the graveside in a fitted black sheath, heels sinking into the sod, while Ethan delivered the eulogy. Nana was the heart of our family, he intoned, voice cracking just enough to sell it, teaching us resilience, forgiveness. I nearly laughed. Forgiveness? He'd been siphoning from her accounts for years, forging her signature on checks to fund his coke habit and that mistress in Soho. I'd covered for him again, doctored the ledgers at the firm, called it creative accounting, because what else was family for? Blood's thicker than ink. Right? The reading of the will was the next day. In Nana's library with its wall-to-wall bookshelves and the faint scent of leather and regret. Dad paced. Ty Askew. Aunt Clara fanned herself with the probate papers. Ethan lounged in an armchair, scrolling his phone like it was a board meeting. The lawyer, a dry-as-dust wasp named Hargrove, cleared his throat. To my son, Richard Harrington, he began, Dad's full name, the bulk of my shares in Harrington Properties, with the stipulation that Vivian retains veto power on major decisions. Dad's face purpled. I blinked, stunned. Veto power? That was half the empire. Then, to Ethan Harrington, a modest trust of $50,000, to be dispersed upon completion of a full financial audit. Ethan's head snapped up, eyes narrowing like a cornered rat. And me, to my granddaughter, Vivian Marie Harrington, my personal estate in Greenwich, all remaining liquid assets. And this. Hargrove slid an envelope across the mahogany table, sealed with Nana's wax crest, a Harrington hawk, talons extended. Inside was a single letter, pages thick as a novel, her spidery script filling every margin. I read it that night alone in my apartment, rain lashing the windows like accusations. Dearest Vivian, it began, if you're reading this, I've lost the bet with the Reaper, but you've won the war. They called you spoiled because they feared you, feared the mirror you held to their sins. Remember the safe? Ethan's doing. Yes, but Richard knew. He covered it up, let you take the fall to toughen you, he said. Toughen you for what? To inherit his guilt. My hands shook as I turned the pages. Nana had known everything, Ethan's thefts, Dad's affairs, even the firm's shady deals, kickbacks from Chinese developers, falsified environmental reports on those Jersey wetlands projects. But the gut punch? The body swap. It wasn't a pill, it was a procedure. Experimental neural mapping cooked up in some blacksite lab Dad funded through the firm. Ethan came to me last year, begging, Nana wrote. Said you were stealing his spotlight, that with your veto, you'd ruin him. He wanted your mind mapped into a sim, your body lent for a reset. I refused, but Richard. He arranged it anyway. Last month, at the gala. You're in limbo now. Child, your consciousness digitized. Ethan's crude copy overlaid on your shell. Wake up. Take it back. Revenge isn't sweet, it's justice served cold. Limbo. That's what it felt like when I woke. Not in my body, but jacked into the firm's VR suite. A ghost in the machine. screens flickering with surveillance feeds. Ethan's voice, my voice, echoed from the next room. Dad. She bought it. The accident at the party? Perfect cover. Dad chuckled. Low and wet with bourbon. Now you're the queen bee.
Son.
Veto's yours by proxy. Rage hit like vertigo. I'd borne their crimes, the juvie rap for Ethan's theft, the late nights fudging books for his debts, even Mom's ghost they pinned on me. And now this, stealing my face, my future, because I dared to rise. Nana's letter burned in my pocket like a grenade pin. Expose them, she urged. But choose wisely. Power corrupts.
Viv.
Don't let it make you the monster. I didn't sleep. Dawn broke gray over the East River, and I started planning. First, access. The neural rig was Dad's pet project, meant for executive enhancement, but twisted into this Frankenstein swap. I hacked in using backdoor codes from my psych rotation. Old Kali Linux tricks from Juvie buddies. My digital self slipped through firewalls like smoke, pulling files, emails between Dad and a shady neurodoc in Boston. Ethan's browser history full of body transfer ethics searches. Even Nana's hidden recordings, her confronting them in the library. Voice frail but fierce. Touch her, and I'll bury you all. By noon, I had leverage.
But revenge?
That's where it gets controversial. Do you leak it all, crash the stock, drag the Harrington name through the Post's headlines, or carve it slow? Make them feel the cage closing? I chose the latter. Started small. Anonymous tips to the SEC about those wetland bribes. Time to hit after Ethan's big presentation that week. Watched via cam as he and my body fumbled slides. Sweat beading on my forehead. While board members whispered, incompetent. Dad covered. Of course. But the doubt seated. Next. The personal cuts. I doxed Ethan's mistress. Not with violence, God. No, but with truth. Screenshots of his texts, calling her side piece, while promising forever in Vivian's name. She dumped him publicly on Insta, tagging the firm, Harrington hypocrite. The comments exploded, Me Too echoes. Calls for boycotts. Ethan raged in my skin. Smashing a vase in the boardroom, I felt the ghost pain echo in my code. But the real twist brewed in the mirror. Logging into the neural net, I saw glimpses, not just their sins, but mine. Nana's letter glossed over it. I'd known about Mom's abandonment. It wasn't leaving, it was fleeing Dad's fists. Bruises I'd hidden as clumsiness because I loved him, needed him. And the safe? I'd suggested the combination to Ethan once. Testing loyalty. It backfired. But was I innocent? The line blurred. Week 2. Tension coiled like a spring. Dad called a family summit at the Greenwich estate. Nana's now mine. Per the will. I manifested as a hologram. Glitchy and ethereal. Projected from the library's smart screen. What the hell is this? Dad bellowed. Face florid under the chandelier. Ethan, me, stammered. Viv,
But you're dead. Dead.
I laughed. Voice synthesized but laced with venom. Or, did you mean displaced? Nice try with the gala overdose, brother. Experimental neural swap? Classy. Even for Harringtons. Aunt Clara gasped. Clutching pearls, Dad went for denial. Delusions. Vivian. Nana's death hit hard. Let's get you help. But I dropped the bomb, played Nana's recording. Her voice crackling. Richard. If you harm her, the world knows about the wetlands' blood money. The room froze. Ethan's eyes, my eyes, widened in betrayal. You knew, Dad, all this time. Fracture lines spread. I could have ended it there, press send on the SEC dossier, watch the empire crumble. But controversy calls. Instead, I offered a deal. Give me my body back.
Ethan.
Doc's reversal protocol. Supervised. Do it, and I bury the files. Refuse, and Monday's headlines read, Harrington heir steals sister's soul. He agreed. Of course. Desperation's a hell of a motivator. The procedure was in a nondescript clinic off Route 1. Fluorescent hum and the doc's nervous sweat. Strapped to parallel rigs. Minds bridging the gap, his slimy thoughts bleeding into mine. Resentment. Envy. The thrill of my power. You were always the favorite, he hissed as the transfer initiated. Spoiled bitch. Pain lanced. White hot. Then release. I blinked into my own eyes. Curls matted. Lips chapped from his neglect. He surfaced in his old shell. Wheezing. Diminished. Welcome home. Vivian, the doc muttered, avoiding my gaze. But the climax? That came at the firm holiday party. December 2023. Snow dusting the plaza's ballroom. I'd reclaimed my office.
Veto d'étanès promotion.
Leaked just enough to force Dad's resignation. They simmered, glances like daggers over eggnog, but I toasted them. Flute raised. To family. May our secrets stay buried. Then the twist, as Ethan cornered me in the coat room. Breath hot with rage. You ruined us. You vindictive cunt. I slipped him Nana's final page. The one I'd held back. Dearest Vivian, it read. The swap wasn't just them. You greenlit the neural project, your psych thesis. Remember? Enhancing empathy through transfer. Ethan twisted it. But you built the door. Forgive yourself. Or become the wolf. He crumpled.
Realisation downing. Ide burna crimas.
Yes. But authored the tool of my undoing. Was I victim or villain? The room spun with whispers. Guests eyeing us. Phones out. I walked away. Heels clicking on marble. The empire mine but hollow. Happy ending? If justice tastes like ash. Maybe. Or by tragic. A debate for therapy couches. Either way, they never called me spoiled again. They called me Harrington. The reversal left echoes. Like tinnitus from a bomb blast, fragments of Ethan's mind clinging to mine. His petty jealousies whispering in quiet moments. I'd catch myself in elevators, staring at my reflection, wondering if that flicker of contempt was me or him. Therapy? Please. In New York, shrinks are just expensive echo chambers for the rich and guilty. Instead, I drowned it in work, vetoing deals that reeked of Dad's old shortcuts. Greenlighting eco-audits on every property from the Battery to the Bronx. The board grumbled. Vivian's gone soft, but the headline shifted. Harrington heiress goes green. Profiles in the Times painting me as the woke savior. Bullshit. All of it. It was control. Pure and simple. The kind Nana preached, hold the reins. Or get trampled. Ethan slunk back to the firm fringes, demoted to glorified gopher. Fetching coffee for interns who once kissed his ass. He'd glare during meetings, his lanky frame hunched in ill-fitting suits. That boyish charm curdled into something feral. How's the new you feel? Sis. He'd snipe in the break room. Pouring creamer with deliberate slowness.
Hidenila.
All teeth. Liberating. You should try authenticity sometime. Aunt Clara tried mediating over Sunday brunch at Le Pain Quotidien in Soho. Avocado toast and passive aggression. Family sticks. Vivian. Let bygones be toasts, but I shut her down. Bygones? Tell that to the 6 months I lost in juvie for his sticky fingers. Dad vanished into the Hamptons bottle, emerging for board votes only. His once commanding presence shrunken. Liver-spotted hands trembling on the gavel. Whispers followed him. Liver failure, they said. Or karma's cocktail. I didn't visit. Mercy felt like weakness. And weakness? That's what got me swapped in the first place. Nana's estate became my fortress, acres of manicured lawns. The hawk crest over the gate like a warning. I hired a PI, ex-NYPD named Kowalski, to dig deeper. Anything on the dock? I asked over takeout Ty in his Crown Heights office, steam rising from pad CEW like interrogative ghosts. He grunted, scrolling a tablet.
Dr.
Elias Crow. Black market neuro. Ties to DARPA dropouts. Your pop funded his empathy trials off books, 20 mil laundered through Cayman shells. But here's the kicker. Ethan's not the brains. Crow pitched it to Richard as legacy insurance. Swap minds with heirs. Train him in Sims. Pop back fresh. Your brother's just the beta test dummy. Legacy insurance. The words soured my stomach. Dad's empire wasn't built on bricks, it was bones, displaced tenants in the 80s evictions, bribes to zoning boards for that Trump-era tower on 5th. I'd known snippets. Buried them under ambition.
Now?
Kowalski slid photos across. Crow in a lab coat. Shaking hands with Dad at a gala, Ethan.
Pre-swap.
Signing NDAs with a grin that mirrored mine. They planned contingencies, he said. If reversal failed. They had a kill switch for your digital ghost. Chills prickled. Despite the June humidity. I'd felt it. Glitches in the net. Code, tendrils probing my limbo shell. One night. Post-reversal.
Ide bukan screaming.
Monitors beeping in the clinic. Anomalous neural bleed. The doc had shrugged it off. Residuals. Chemist. Harrington. But now? I doubled security. Installed Faraday cages around the estate servers. Paranoia, my new perfume. Summer dragged. Humid and heavy. The city pulsing with tourists and tension. Protests erupted over police brutality. Another black man shot in Bed-Stuy, and I donated quietly. Funneled firm funds to bail funds. But it felt performative. A rich girl's absolution. Ethan cornered me at the firm's rooftop mixer. Skyline glittering like fool's gold. You think you're better? He slurred. Breath mince failing against whiskey. Nana picked you 'cause you're ruthless.
Viv.
That thesis? You wanted this power trip. I shoved him back. Champagne sloshing on my LBD. I wanted understanding. You idiot. Empathy. Not your ego transplant. But his words wormed in, twisting Nana's letter. My psych paper, Bridging Minds, Ethical Frontiers in Neural Transfer, had been idealistic. Sure. But buried in the appendix? Protocols for full overrides. I'd theorized it as therapy for trauma victims. But in Dad's hands? Weaponized inheritance. The controversy escalated when the SEC probe hit. Leakside planted bore fruit, headlines screaming, Harrington Properties implicated in multi-million bribe scandal. Stock dipped 15%. Clients bolted, that Saudi prince pulling his yacht club investment, muttering haram under his breath. Dad called from the Hamptons. Voice gravel. Vivian. Pull it back. You're killing us.
Us.
I echoed. Pacing the estate sunroom. French doors open to mockingbirds. You killed me first.
Dad.
6 months in a cell for Ethan's joyride. And the swap? That's not legacy. That's grave robbing. Silence. Then a wheeze. It was for the family. You were unstable. After your mother. Mom left because of you. I snapped. The bruises. The screaming matches. I lied for you. Said she was the drunk. Covered your ass while Ethan covered the mirrors.
Click.
Line dead. But the seed planted. Was I paying debts or collecting interest? Kowalski's next drop was dynamite. Audio from Crow's lab. Time-stamped pre-gala. Dad's voice. Clipped. Make it seamless. Vivian's body for Ethan. Full integration. If she fights, wipe the original. Ethan's laugh. Light. She'll thank us. Wake up to a new start. My knees buckled in the PI's office. The acrid scent of his vape mixing with bile. They'd plotted murder. Digital style erase my mind. Puppeteer my corpse. Rage refined to diamond. I confronted Crow at his waterfront loft in Red Hook. Unannounced. Kowalski's Glock a cold weight in my purse. He answered in silk pajamas. Martini in hand, that professorial smirk fading at my glare. MS. Harrington. To what do I owe? Shut up. I shoved the audio transcript under his nose. You sold my soul for a grant. Reversal was sloppy, echoes. Fix it, or I testify. Full disclosure, DARPA ties. Harrington funding. The works. He paled, glasses slipping. It's not that simple. Residuals are. Symbiotic now. Untangle, and you risk psychosis. Or worse. Worse how? Catatonia. Or merger. Yourselves blending. He poured another drink. Ice clinking like chains. Ethan's in you. Vivian. The envy. The cunning. Pull too hard. And what's left? I left without answering. Brooklyn Bridge lights blurring through tears. Merger? The thought terrified, waking one day with his urges. His voice in my head dictating boardroom savagery. Back at the estate. I burned my thesis in the fireplace. Pages curling like accusations. But secrets fester. Aunt Clara showed up uninvited. Heels clicking on slate. A bottle of Veuve and crocodile tears. Richard's dying.
Viv.
Liver shot. Come see him. For Nana. I poured. Glass steady. Nana would have said earn it. She leaned in. Perfume cloying. She told me everything. The safe, you suggested the combo to Ethan. Tested him.
She said.
Played God with family. Liar. Or was she? Nana's letter danced in memory. You built the door. I drained the flute. Bubbles biting. Get out. That night. Dreams bled. Ethan's hands on my deals. Dad's fists on Mom's shadow me. I woke to a text from unknown. Kill switch active. Choose. Merge or erase. Crow's doing? Or internal war? Dawn brought decision. Controversial as hell, I scheduled a black market deep dive with a rogue hacker in Queens. Neural scrub to excise Ethan's ghost. Risky, she warned. Tattoos snaking up her arms. Rig humming like a hive. Could fry your empathy centers. Make you cold. Do it, I said. As code flooded. Pains lanced. Memories not mine. Ethan's first theft thrill. Dad's affair guilt. Severed. I emerged hollow. Sharper. Called Dad. I'm coming. but on my terms. The Hamptons Drive was purgatory, waves crashing like indictments, dunes whispering betrayal. His mansion loomed, Gatsby gone to seed, pool lights flickering blue. He waited on the terrace, oxygen mask fogging, eyes milky. Vivian, I sat, uninvited. Truth time. Mom, he coughed, phlegm rattling. I hit her.
Once.
Lost control. She took you kids. But Ethan. He begged me to fight dirty. Custody war. I did. And the swap? Insurance. Ethan convinced me you'd veto everything. Tank the firm. Nanas will pushed it.
Pause. Wheeze.
Forgive. No, but I didn't leave. Held his hand, bony and cold, as monitors beeped dirge. Controversial mercy. I authorized palliative care. Top shelf. No more suffering. He died at midnight. Murmur. Proud. Spoiled girl. Ethan's call came at burial. Dad's gone. Your fault. Mine. Laughter bitter. Join me for coffee. Estate. Noon. He arrived twitchy. Shadows under eyes, my old eyes. Reclaimed but haunted. What now? Viv. SEC's circling. Firm's toxic. I slid the merger files across oak. Crow's warning. We're linked. Fight. We both fry. Partner up, clean the books. Testify together. Or I pull the switch. His face twisted rage. Defeat. A brother's ghost. You doom us both? Family? Ethan. Concrete. He signed. Pen scratching like surrender. But as he left, Nana's voice echoed. Don't let it make you the monster.
Was I?
The debate lingered. A scar. Empire stabilized. Headlines shifted. Harrington siblings reform legacy. But in mirrors, I saw us both, victim, villain, fused. Fall crept in like a creditor. Leaves bleeding red across the estate grounds. The air crisp with wood smoke and what-ifs. Ethan and I played corporate chess, him as my reluctant knight, me the queen with a poison crown. We testified before the SEC in a fluorescent hellhole downtown, voices steady over polygraphs, spilling on the bribes but framing it as rogue elements under Dad. A father's folly, Ethan called it, his delivery polished from Columbia Debate Club days. I nodded, adding, we're turning the page, sustainable developments. Community reinvestment. The panel bought it. Fines levied, but empire intact. Handshakes all around. Flashbulbs popping like celebratory gunfire. Privately, war simmered. Residuals from the scrub left me with his tics, nail-biting during calls. A craving for black coffee, laced with regret. He'd corner me in hallways. Feel me yet? Viv, that deal you killed last week, the Jersey high-rise? My baby. I'd fire back. Your baby was built on sand. Evictions. Remember? Like the ones that broke Mom? Mention of her was nuclear. His face shuddered. Old wounds reopening. Aunt Clara played referee. Hosting healing dinners at her Upper East Side brownstone. Roast chicken and resentment. Crystal clinking like judgments. You two are all that's left, she'd coo. Passing peas. Nana would want unity. Unity? Nana's hawk glared from photos. Talon's a reminder. One night, tipsy on Pinot, Clara confessed. Esther knew about the affairs. Richard's.
And.
Mine. With your father. Back when we were young. She buried it for the firm. Incestuous rot. The Harringtons weren't concrete. We were quicksand, sucking each other under. I excused myself to the powder room, splashing water on a face that felt borrowed. In the mirror, Ethan's echo smirked. See? We're all monsters. The merger threat loomed. Crow's files warned of progressive bleed. Psyches entangling until distinction dissolved. Nightmares ramped. I'd wake in sweats, directing phantom board meetings in Dad's voice. Or worse, Mom's pleas echoing from juvie bars. Kowalski dug deeper, his report stacking like indictments. Crow's DARPA links? Shallow cover for private clients, oligarchs seeking immortality swaps. Tech bros uploading to avoid midlife. Your pop was beta testing on family, he grunted over Zoom. Cigar smoke haloing his scowl. But Ethan's got a side hustle. Post-reversal. He's been emailing Crow, enhancements, he calls them. Wants your veto powers coded in. Permanent. Betrayal 2.0. I confronted Ethan at the firm's gym. Post-yoga. Mat's sticky, with our shared sweat. Enhancements? You're jacking my brain again. He toweled off. Casual as sin. Paranoia.
Sis. Just.
Insurance. Firm needs strong leadership. You're soft, those green initiatives? Costing us millions. Soft. I lunged, pinning him against the mirror. Forearm to throat, his throat. Narrow and vulnerable. I saved your ass from prison. From oblivion. And you repay with another swap. He wheezed, eyes bulging. Let go. It's not. I did. Stepping back. Heart hammering. Violence tempted. That controversial edge Nana warned of. Instead, meeting. My office. Now. There. Under fluorescent judgment. I laid cards, Crow's emails, Ethan's queries for neural overrides. He blanched, stammered denials. It was hypothetical. Dad's ghost, the pressure. Cut the shit. I leaned in, voice low. One chance.
Clean break.
You take a sabbatical, Europe, whatever. I handle the firm solo. Cross me, and the full dossier drops. Your thefts, the swap logs, Mom's bruises logged in Nana's journals. He signed the exit papers that afternoon. Severance generous, but gag clause ironclad. You're destroying us, he muttered. Pen trembling. Us died at the gala. Door shut. Echo. But isolation bred ghosts. The estate felt vast. Empty. Nana's books gathering dust. Her sun porch swing creaking in winds like laments. I dated sporadically. A banker from Goldman. All teeth and transactions. A artist in Williamsburg. Tattoos and transients. Neither stuck. Intimacy felt invasive. Bodies suspect after the swap. You're guarded, the artist said. Post-coital. Tracing my scars, juvie tats. Faded roses for Mom. Like you're waiting for the other shoe. It dropped Christmas Eve. Invite to Clara's gala. Black tie at the Met. Harrington tradition. Honoring Nana's legacy. I arrived late. Slinking through crowds in emerald silk. Emeralds at throat. Nana's. Cold as truth. Ethan was there. Uninvited. Arm in arm with a blonde socialite. Whispering in her ear like conspiracy. Our eyes met across the hall. His mine once held venom. Clara pulled me aside. Champagne flutes clinking. He's struggling.
Viv.
Lost his way. For family's a myth, but doubt gnawed. Later, on the terrace overlooking Central Park, snow-dusting balustrades. He approached. Truce? One drink. Against judgment. I nodded. Bourbon neat. Fire and crystal. To what? Absolution. To survival. He sipped, eyes distant. You ever wonder if Nana played us? That letter, pitting us, revealing just enough to ignite the fuse. The thought struck like lightning. Nana's words, expose them. But choose wisely. Had she orchestrated the swap exposure? Knowing it'd fracture us? Her empire secured through chaos? Before I could probe. Alarms wailed, met security. Frantic. Breach. Active shooter. Panic rippled. Guests stampeding. Ethan shoved me behind a statue. Body shielding his body. Sacrificing? Gunfire cracked. Muffled. Then silence. Cops swarmed. Turns out.
A disgrantel d'exemployer.
Eco-activist eyed blacklisted post-probe. Bullet grazed Ethan's shoulder, my old shoulder, blood blooming on tucks. Hospital smelled of bleach and betrayal. I waited in the ER lounge. Vending machine coffee bitter.
Klar pastes, Iset.
Stone. Surgeon emerged, stable. Through and through. He'll scar, but walk. Relief? Or rage deferred? In recovery. Tube snaking. He croaked.
Didn't.
Let you down this time. Controversial. I squeezed his hand. Don't make it a habit. Discharge brought uneasy alliance. He crashed at the estate, winged to himself. Physical therapy in the gym. We talked, halting, over takeout in the library. The safe, he admitted. Ice packed to shoulder. You gave me the combo 'cause you trusted. I blew it. And the swap. Dad's idea.
I
Went along. Envy. Viv. You shone, I dimmed.
tears tracked.
Unmanly in the firelight.
Mine matked.
I enabled. The thesis, doorway to hell.
Merge de pened.
Not in code, but blood. Controversial decision. I reinstated him.
Junior VP.
With oversight.
Prove it, I said.
Board murmured soft again, but stocks climbed on our reunited front PR. Spring bloomed treacherous, cherry blossoms mocking fragility. Kowalski called. Crows vanished. Offshore. Likely. But left breadcrumbs, your neural logs. Full access, Dad's contingency.
Point.
Risk everything. Everything. The bleed complete. Selves indistinguishable. I deleted. Fingers hovering like judgment. Nana's swing creaked outside. I joined it. Wind whispering. Choose. Twist loomed. But for now, fragile peace. Was it happy? Debatable. The wolf howled within. But shared. Perhaps tamed. Word count, 1004. File 3 end. File 4. Summer scorched back. Humidity a shroud over the city. Air conditioners humming dirges to dead deals. Ethan and I synced like faulty gears, clashing in meetings. Aligning on overhauls. He pushed aggressive expansions, luxury pods in Queens. Affordable in name only while I vetoed. Insisting on mixed income. Green roofs. You're strangling growth, he'd argue in the boardroom. Charts glowing on screens. I'd counter. Growth without soul's a tumor. Tension crackled. Electric. Interns scattered like shrapnel. Clara's meddling peaked at the family picnic, Ridgewood Park. Hot dogs and hypocrisy under oaks. She arrived with the surprise. Mom. Disheveled. eyes hollow from years in Reno waitressing, but alive. Vivian, she breathed. Hug Boney. Ethan froze. Burger midway, I stiffened. Old bruises phantom-aching.
How?
I demanded. Later in Clara's Volvo.
Actini blasting.
Tracked her. For healing. Clara's eyes gleamed. Manipulator's light. Healing? Mom's tales over potato salad. Dad's rages. The night she fled with toddler me in arms, leaving Ethan with him for stability. I wrote, she said, voice cracking. Letters you never got. Nana's doing intercepted. Burned. Protected you, Clara admitted. From pain. From truth. That night. Estate library. Mom and I poured Nana's hidden drawer. Letters yellowed. Please for visitation scrawled. Esther said you'd hate me, Mom wept. The spoiled girl. Better off. Controversial. I forgave. Hired her consultant, real estate paralegal.
Steady gig.
Ethan seethed. She abandoned us. We abandoned her. Echoes rang true. Ethan's in my throat. Crow's ghost haunted. Anonymous drops, USB in my mailbox. Logs of the swap. My mind digitized. Ethan's overlaid. A pause, not death. But metadata? My thesis cited. Permissions granted pre-gala. For research, I'd signed. Trusting Dad's partnership. Betrayals layers peeled endless. I confronted the void. Therapy? Finally. With a no bullshit shrink in Chelsea. Leather couch and Kleenex box. You're grieving identities, Dr. Rouse said. Accent lilting. Yours.
His.
The family's myth. Mergers not curse, it's integration. Use it. Integration. I leaned in, channeling Ethan's sales charm for a TEDx talk. Neural ethics, from sci-fi to family feud. Manhattan crowd rapped. Applause thundering. Ethan watched from wings. Nod grudging. Post-talk. Drinks at the Dead Rabbit. You nailed it. We make a team. Team. The word warmed. Treacherous. But fall brought frost. SEC audit deepened. Whistleblower surfacing. Kowalski?
No.
An intern-eyed fired. Eco-radical with grudge. Raids hit the firm. Feds and windbreakers rifling files. Obstruction, they barked. Cuffing a mid-level exec. Ethan and I lawyered up. War room in my office. Pizza boxes. Whiteboards scrawled with timelines. They're gunning for legacy crimes, he said. Marker squeaking. Dad's wetlands. Bodies buried there. Figuratively. Literally? Kowalski's final report. Displaced families. One suicide post-eviction. Drowning in the Passaic.
Guilt tsunami.
Controversial call. We self-reported. Full disclosure. Stock cratered 30%. But headlines pivoted. Harringtons confess. Commit to reparations. Protests shifted. Picket lines to partnerships. Community boards inviting us to atone. Ethan cracked under it. Bourbon bottles emptying in his wing. One storm-lashed night, he stumbled to my study.
Soaked.
Eyes wild. The residuals, they're winning. I dream your dreams.
Viv.
Juvie bars. Mom's face. I pulled him in. Rare softness. Then fight together. We talked till dawn, his thefts born of Dad's neglect. My covers from fear of loss. Merge deepened, his envy fueled my drive. My ethics tempered his edge. Climax brewed at the annual gala, plaza. Chandeliers dripping light like honeyed lies. I'd rebuilt. Reparations fund launched. $50 mill to affected families. Guests toasted to redemption, but undercurrents whirled. Crow appeared, uninvited. Tux crisp, smirk intact. MS. Harrington. Impressive pivot. Security flanked. I waved them off.
You.
The kill switch. He chuckled.
Flute raised.
Activated subtly. Your integration? My design. Pull apart. Psyches shatter. But together? Unstoppable. Ethan materialized. Shoulder scarred under jacket. Together how? Symbiosis. Crow's eyes gleamed. Ethan's aggression. Vivian's intellect. Hybrid air. Your father's vision.
Dad's.
The pieces slotted. Not betrayal. But blueprint. Nana's letter? Sabotage. Her exposing to derail it. But too late. We'd merged willingly. Rage unified. Controversial. We didn't call cops. Instead, post-gala, Kowalski tailed Crow to a heliport, escaped to islands. We hacked his jet manifest. Tipped Interpol anonymously.
Noise plus.
But cuffs waited in Miami. Aftermath. Quiet storm. Mom moved east. Dinner's tentative lasagna and laughter. Scars airing. Clara faded. Her secrets exposed in therapy circles. Ethan and I.
Thud.
The hybrid leading charges. Sustainable towers in the Bronx. Neural ethics board I chaired.
But twist fermented.
One night. Estate quiet. I found Nana's final codicil, taped under her desk. Missed in probate. Vivian. The swap was my concession. I funded Crow's early work. Empathy trials for trauma. Like yours from Richard. Ethan twisted it.
But you.
You volunteered the protocol. To understand him. The letter? My push for you to claim it all. Forgive or rule. The choice was always yours. Volunteer. The door. Ajar by my hand. Truth reversed. Victim to architect. Betrayed to betrayer. I burned it. Ashes to wind. Happy? If power's the prize. By tragic if it's Pyrrhic. Readers debate, I live it. Winter clamped down. Iron skies over the city. Holidays a gauntlet of forced cheer. Mom's first Harrington Christmas. Tree in the estate foyer. Ornaments tinkling like fragile truces. She hung a star. Eyes distant. Your grandmother. Complicated woman. Complicated? Nana's codicil scorched my pocket.
Truteshember.
I'd volunteered the protocol, late-night email to Crow. Test on siblings? Bridge the gap. Idealism. Or subconscious sabotage. Therapy unpacked it. You sought control over chaos. Vivian. The family's fractures. Ethan thrived in hybrid skin, his sales acumen closing green deals. My veto ensuring ethics. Board hailed us, the dynamic duo, Forbes profiling from feud to fusion. But nights. Doubts nod. Was success ours? Or Crow's engineered synergy? He rotted in federal holding. Trial pending, RICO charges. Neural black market exposed. His testimony loomed. The Harringtons commissioned it. Full complicity. We prepped in the library. Fires crackling. Scotch warming palms. Deny, Ethan urged, pacing Persian rugs. Plausible deniability, your thesis was academic. Academic. I swirled ice. I signed off.
Dorshmina.
He stopped. Eyes, his own now, soft.
Ours.
Merge means shared sins. Controversial. We didn't deny. At trial. Manhattan courthouse echoing footsteps. We took the stand. My research enabled misuse. I testified. Voice steady under fluorescence. But the crime? My family's. We own it. Ethan echoed. Betrayal starts at home. We're rectifying. Gasps rippled, press frenzy, Harrington confession trending. Memes of swap selfies.
Fines gatit.
But reputation? Reborn in infamy. Reparations swelled. Trusts for evictees' kids. Scholarships in Nana's name. Mom volunteered. Her paralegal eyes spotting loopholes. Spring thawed secrets. Clara's death. Heart attack. Sudden. Unearthed diaries. Her affair with Dad. Nana's cover-up to shield the firm. Esther was the spider. 1 page read. Webbed us all. Funeral sparse, I spoke. Complicated women build empires. Flawed, but fierce. Ethan and I walked the estate grounds. Dogwoods blooming defiant. What's next? He asked. Gravel crunching. Expansion. Ethical AI, neural aids for therapy, not tyranny.
Pause.
And you? Europe? He grinned. Boyish flash.
Nah.
Here. Partners.
Partners.
The words settled. Uneasy peace. But climax crested Memorial Day, gala at the firm. Rooftop Hudson views. Fireworks bursting like revelations. Guests mingled, activists, execs, Mom beaming in cocktail dress. Ethan toasted, to Vivian, the unspoiled truth. Laughter. But my flute trembled. Mid-speech. Phone buzzed, Kowalski. Crows flipped. Says you initiated, full logs. Your emails. Truth reversed.
Public.
Camera's word, as feds approached. Warrants waving. Vivian Harrington. Obstruction and conspiracy. Ethan stepped forward. Arm linked.
Us.
Include me. Controversial arrest. Handcuffs clicking in sync. Headlines screaming, heiress hybrids fall. But in holding, mergers gift unity. Trial blitz, evidence damning. My emails damningest. I sought understanding. I told jury. Faces stern. Built a bridge. They made a cage. Verdict. Guilty. But light. Probation. Community service. Firm oversight. Empire? Sold piecemeal. Proceeds to funds. Ethan and I, disbarred from exec seats, but free relatively. Epilogue, Greenwich summer. Swing creaking. Mom gardens, roses thorny. Ethan dates a barista. Laughs genuine. I write, memoir. Swap souls, a Harrington reckoning. Nana's hawk on cover. Publisher's bid, I choose indie.
Raw.
Ending? Happy. Redemption's quiet. Family mended in fractures. By tragic. Power's illusion. Truth's blade cuts deepest. Debatable. Like all bloodlines. They called me spoiled once.
Now?
Survivor. And that's the unvarnished American dream. Rise. Fall. Rewrite. But in quiet. Nana whispers. Well played. Child. Or warning. The debate endures. Eternal as empire's dust.